Drama as Wike tutors TV journalists on constitutional interpretations during media chats. That man, he will never cease to surprise somebody. And now to the news info. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Sam Wike, has called on an Arise News channels to ensure accurate interpretation of news reports. Okay now. Wike made the call during a ministerial media chat on Sunday evening with select journalists. All of them will be selecting journalists. The minister said they do media chat. President has done his own. He too is doing his own. Now, wow, no be small thing. No be small thing, no minister. The minister is like the second in command of the president. Even Senate president self, you no get this kind level. You no get this kind level. Now minister they get level. They do media chats. What is he chatting? What does he have to say that he's chatting with the media? While responding to an Arise News channel's correspondent reference to the Supreme Court ruling that the FCT holds the status of a state, according to Wike, the Supreme Court's interpretation was specific to elections and does not mean that the FCT is officially a state. That is why in your station you carry wrong stories. Wike remarked. Which wrong stories? You want to attack Arise TV? You cannot attack it. They don't bring fake stories. No, it's a lie. Don't do that. That is why you selected people to come, because you know that if somebody like Rufai or Mario Essay, Mario Essay, or probably Abati comes, maybe Abati will not even do much. But that is why you selected the people that you want. They said that they will not come and ask you questions that you will want to pee on your seats. So you are correcting. It does not mean that the FCT is officially a state. That is why in your station you carry wrong stories. I beg you want to attack Arise News. To not work. What the Supreme Court interpreted as FCT having the status of a state is proven by elections. They have the status in elections. Okay, now the person has said. Clarifying his stance, Wike emphasized that the FCT is not part of the Federation Account Allocation Committee (FAC) and does not receive direct allocations like states do. Why? Because FCT is not a state. FCT is what? That is why it is not a member of FAC. It does not collect from the Federation account. We only take from what the federal government takes, which is 1%, he said. People take 1%. Mr. Wike. Minister Wike, why now? People take 1% of what the federal government takes. I beg you. Wike further admonished the Arise News correspondent, urging him to relay the Supreme Court's interpretations correctly. So when you are saying the Supreme Court interpreted, give the proper interpretation he stated. And that's why when I see that you people do it, what you people do in your station, I say, where are these people coming from? Wike, don't do that. Don't do that. You want to come for Arise News? No way. Whatever they do in their station is the right thing. That's why politicians don't like to go to Arise News, because they know that they're going to finish them. They know that they're going to ask hot questions that you will not be able to answer. That is why you want to talk down on Arise News. That's not possible. Don't do that. Political interpretations that FCT is seen as a state does not mean that FCT is a state. So why would you do a political interpretation that FCT is seen as a state and then FCT is not a state? This man is confused though. He's a very, very confused human being. Because I don't understand what you mean by there's a political interpretation that FCT is seen as a state, but it does not mean that FCT is a state. What do you mean by that? People shall want to be confusing yourself, because it's not me that people will confuse. The exchange intensified when the correspondent argued that the Constitution designates the President as both the President and Governor of the FCT. Wike countered sharply. He will counter now. How can one person be the President and the Governor at the same time? No, Mr. Arise, answer the question he charged. So why does FCT doesn't have a governor? Because it's not a state. Why is it not a state? Why is it not a state? Federal capital, Abuja, is there on the list of state and capitals that we have. On FCT is a state. Abuja is the capital. So why are you saying now that FCT is not a state? So who is the governor in FCT? Who? Because I don't understand this man. Because everything is on a gra. No, Mr. Arise. No, Mr. Arise. Can you imagine? Media chats. How can one person be the president and governor? So if he's not the president and governor, why don't we have elections to pick a governor in FCT? Why? Tell us why. When asked about President Bola Tinubu's commendation of his work as FCT minister, Wike dismissed the question as being laced with mischief. So why did you call for a media chat now? It was Arise News that said they wanted to come and do media chats. If you know you were not going to be answering their questions, why are you dismissing their questions? I don't understand. Ask yourself the question. This man is a public, I'm not sorry to say, he's a public nuisance. The way he behaves, he's not supposed to be in a public position like this. He said, ask yourself the question. Can you imagine? How would you feel if your boss says he's satisfied with your work? He replied, even though the question was mischievously asked by Arise, with all due respect, that's how we kill journalism. How do they kill journalism? They asked you a question. How do you feel? Oh, I feel elated. I feel so fulfilled that the president recognized my job. He said he commended me and all of that. What is wrong with the question that they asked you? This man. I don't know the word that this man Wike came from. Wike also criticized another Arise News channel anchor for singling him out during the presidential media chat with Tinubu. That was a presidential media chat. It's so unfortunate that a first-class graduate would pick out a single minister. This man, his mouth, it will not be the end of him. Will pick out a single minister not to ask a question but to accuse him of land grabbing a lamented. Now, question they ask you, did you grab land? Simple. Answer. Defend yourself. Why must you always be on the defensive mode like this man? As a first-class graduate, he's a first-class graduate. That's why he's asking you questions that he feels are relevant, that you should answer. But you don't want to answer everything to do for your side. The minister asserted that the TV anchor was ultimately embarrassed after President Tinubu addressed the question to the glory of God. He was embarrassed to the glory of God. This man. A comedian. He was embarrassed, and after Mr. President answered, he couldn't ask any more questions. He was embarrassed shamelessly, Wike declared. How do you know he was embarrassed? This man. I beg, you own too much. Concluding his remarks, Wike urged journalists to uphold professionalism. They are professional, and not allow personal interests to overshadow their responsibilities. Everybody has a role to play to ensure that we do not let personal interests overshadow the truth. Don't allow personal interest to overshadow the truth. It's not because of a personal interest that you are frustrating Wike in Fubara in Rivers State. It's because of a personal interest. You've allowed it to shadow your thinking, and because of what you want to get, because of greediness. You don't know what you are doing anymore. You are not saying that I beg they should not allow personal interest to overshadow the truth. You don't allow personal interest to overshadow you. Let's say what Mr. Wike. My listeners, over to you. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, to share, and subscribe. Thank you for listening. See you some other time. Bye.